Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined by Jack Weinberger, Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia, and filling in for producer Zach today is my sister Lauren. So thank you, Lauren, for being here. Very, very thankful.
Hi, everyone.
No camera, unfortunately.
No camera on Lauren today. That's a strategic decision from me. Lauren's been on a few episodes of this show, though.
This will be a hit show.
Yeah, Lauren and Ziggy is a great combination.
Yeah.
They had their romantic fling back in the day, so there's always some room for something to happen between the two of these two when they're seated in the same room or on the same Zoom call for in this case. So we'll see how it goes.
I don't think so.
Zach is working.
Still got some feelings. But...
Yeah, you might see the romantic side of Robert Ziegler come out
And
during this.
she's right in front of Ziggy's screen too, so I don't know if she can contain herself.
So we'll see what happens. In today's episode, we're going to do a little update on the NFC North through a few practices at OTAs. Some big news has come out of the NFC North. Actually, some massive news has come out of the NFC North today. We're going to touch on that a little bit later. I want to talk some more about Shedeur. We mentioned it last episode, but Shedeur Sanders is playing pretty well so far with the Browns at this moment in time. And we're going to also have, we haven't done it in a while, the segment where we basically have 1 minute to make a case for something. In this situation, we're going to say bounce back teams for the 2025 NFL season. And Lauren will actually be voting on who presents the best argument. Make the case, I believe, is the name of that segment. So we each picked one team, and we're going to present the case to Lauren on why they will bounce back in 2025. And Lauren, having no knowledge in football, is actually a great judge. It was Ziggy's opinion that she should be the judge for this episode without producer Zach. So Lauren will be judging that. I did want to mention as well, guys, we hit 19,000 subscribers. How about that? So we're under 1,000 away now, as math works, from 20,000 heading into the season. It's been awesome. We're going to get to 20K soon, hopefully before the season kicks off. And from there, we move on upward to 25K.
Thank God that you said we're 1,000 away from 20K. I was about to say 100 away from 20K.
Oh, are you?
Thank God you stepped in there before.
Math has never been Jack's strong suit,
Yeah.
but you're working on it. That's why you're great at English. That's why you're a podcaster.
Yeah, yes,
Exactly. I also wanted to mention, Ziggy, I don't know if you saw this when I put it out a while ago. Back in, I think, August, placed a bet on 5 teams to win the championship for the course of their seasons. It was the Vikings, it was the Knicks, it was Arsenal to win the Premier League, it was the New Jersey Devils and the Yankees to all win the championship. I called it the Paul bet, or the betting on yourself bet.
Oh, the Knicks.
And you know what's funny though? I've reflected on this year, and this is a classic debate that we've had on this show: is heartbreak versus pure misery, right? If you want to be a Browns fan, a Jaguars fan, formerly the Lions, or do you want to be like the Vikings and Bills who have their hearts ripped out? I think that this actually was the most fun year of sports I've had in my entire life so far.
Yeah, I mean, so what you won the Florida Panthers, right?
So on this, if I run it down real quick, Vikings 14-3, unreal year. Again, tragic ending. Yankees lose the World Series.
Oh, right.
Knicks
right, okay.
lose in the semifinals of the NBA. I mean, it actually does get heartbreaking the more this goes on. Notre Dame loses the national championship. The Devils had a great year, got knocked out.
Devils,
but the Panthers are in the finals right now. They're the other team that we root for because of our younger cousin Stephanie. Arsenal loses in the Champions League semifinals. The saving grace here for all of this was that I actually won March Madness with the Florida Gators, like thousands of dollars. And I don't know if I could actually say that, but I won some office pools. Let's just say non-work related office pools. A lot of legal clarifications here. Non-work office pools. But other than that, I mean, I guess actually in hindsight, it's been a really heartbreaking sport. Yes.
But to go far and to get like heartbroken is better than not having a shot.
Yeah,
100%.
So much better. Like every single team I've rooted for this year, I've been fully engaged,
You've had a chance,
excited.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, just something horrendous happens.
But that's better than like nothing from the start.
Yeah. So I think now I'm firmly planted in heartbreak. While it's a different pain, it's a sharper pain, better than mind-numbing sucking for a team.
I mean, this wasn't a heartbreaking year for me in sports at all. Simon Yates won the Giro.
Oh, geez, here we go.
In unbelievable fashion. He took Isaac Del Toro down to the wire and just kicked his butt while he and Richard Carapaz were staring at each other on a big climb.
I mean,
if you know anything about cycling, Simon Yates winning this is like an unbelievable career-redeeming moment.
I had a crappy year.
Did you?
Yeah.
No one asked Jack.
No one asked you either. I thought we were just talking here, Ziggy. You weren't asked either, my friend. I thought we were just talking.
And I actually wasn't even in the rundown. I just decided to do it. I just thought, what happened to you? You had the Steelers.
Well, I just had Clemson losing the first round of the NCAA tournament with thousands.
You don't care about Clemson that much, do you?
Thousands of eyes on that pick.
Oh yeah, you did. People.
I had some money on that pick.
People were in your DMs about that one.
The Steelers are just in hell.
Yep.
The Pirates are horrible.
Yep, that's miserable.
But yeah, it's miserable.
Do you have any other teams though that you actively?
Not really. That's it.
Well, I mean, you can't really.
Virginia
be too
Tech,
upset.
Vatech football, they suck.
Yeah, I mean, are you really a Vatech? I mean, you like Enter Sandman.
More so than you are a Yankee fan.
You should hop on to my bandwagon. Experience some heartbreak, man. It's. I don't want to say it's great, but at least you feel something.
I experienced misery.
You got a girlfriend though.
True.
You got a girlfriend.
True.
This year, so
that trumps all.
Yeah, that trumps all.
That trumps all.
Show her this clip. We'll break out this clip.
Yes, that trumps all.
I mean, Gukesh beat Magnus Carlsen. Like, this was an.
I actually saw that. Did you see the video that Portnoy tweeted of Magnus Carlsen, the chess grandmaster, slamming the table when he lost?
No, you don't.
That's
Yes, I did. No, you know what?
Wait, that's normal stuff in chess?
I mean, I wouldn't say it happens like every game, but like hitting the table because you're frustrated is not.
Oh yeah, I
didn't
think it was.
And apologized and it's like, yeah,
Portnoy had one of his.
I mean, this is a shocking defeat. I mean, I think Gukesh is right. 99 times out of 100, Magnus Carlsen wins that.
Oh, you saw
Magnus
the guy.
Carlsen just made an inexplicable blunder with his knight.
You see the guy after he wins. He's like walking around. He's like actually in pure shock. You should go watch the clip if you haven't. Not that any of us, I mean, maybe Ziggy actually follow chess too closely, but. It was a pretty fun. It's 20 seconds.
Lauren's face now. It's just like, what the hell are they talking about?
Like, you didn't see us talking about chess in this episode?
I'm just so tired. I'm like, how did we get here?
Dave Portnoy, I was watching his emergency press conference the other day when the Knicks lost.
Oh,
and he had a shirt that said "Bing Bong, the Knicks are dead." Oh, like from the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I know. I put it together. I put it together.
I wanted to go and purchase one.
Isn't it Ding Dong?
Yeah. The Knicks say Bing Bong.
Oh.
That's what the Knicks fans say.
That's like the sound of the subway, like Bing Bong.
I thought it was a musical theater blunder.
No. That's unfortunate. But yeah, so I guess Ziggy and I have had decent sports years. Actually, someone said this weekend, Ziggy, last weekend, Memorial Day, they were talking about the podcast, one of our friends, mutual friends, Vince, actually. And he said, you guys should forever cut out Ziggy talking about cycling from the show. And I said, I'm sorry.
You know what? I'm going to take the higher. Good. Congratulations for Vince for his first day of work.
Yo, you know what, Ziggy?
The new job.
I just wanted to put it out there. Yeah. Congratulations to Vince on his first day of work.
Nice.
And, his rude comments towards Ziggy have been noted, and Ziggy has risen above them. So, nice job, Ziggy.
Be the bigger person, Ziggy.
Way to be, Ziggy. That's
why I love you.
That's what this show is all about. So, let's get into, bounce back opportunities here with NFL teams. Again, here's what we're going to do. We're each going to present the case to Lauren for 1 minute. And in that minute, we will say why whatever team we've chosen will bounce back during the 2025 NFL season. And then Lauren will determine who made the best case.
This actually works out because she knows no football.
No, she knows nothing. So
it's kind of just like an argument.
She can only go on the basis of the argument.
So there's no bias.
Right. So I feel like Ziggy's going to win this. Ziggy's a favorite.
Well, Ziggy, you have to remember he might choke under the pressure
Ziggy's
talking to his former
a persuader, though.
Yeah, he is a persuader.
True.
Not a manipulator.
You might get
persuader.
You might get butterflies around Lauren, though, Ziggy.
All right, here we go. You ready, Ziggy? You have.
I thought we were starting with Jack.
Oh, would you like to go first, Jack?
I can go first. Yeah.
Okay. All right,
I have
Jack.
a minute.
Ready? 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
All right, so I'm going to go with my bounce back team. Has my name in it. My second favorite team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I know Lauren is a fan of as well. Makes a good Jaguar sound. There it is. This is a team who they address their needs, right? They made significant upgrades to their roster, offensive line, in the secondary, the receiving core. The AFC South has an easy schedule. I don't think, Houston's not Kansas City or Baltimore. This division is very winnable, and Jacksonville has the pieces. And the most important part now, you bring in Travis Hunter, who's going to be a flat-out superstar, at least what most people think, including myself. Brian Robinson, his second year.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Trevor Lawrence, still a youngster. I feel like he has two good pieces now around him. Jacksonville has the pieces now, for me, to contend. Bounce back.
All right. That sound is going to trigger some people, I bet.
It triggered
I don't think the sound's coming through.
Oh, that didn't come through. The beep 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 beep. I'll say beep 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 next time. All right, so there you go, Lauren. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, why were you laughing halfway through
You gotta talk faster.
the spiel?
You needed to talk
I was laughing
faster.
because I thought midway through I thought you were like, I'm not convincing at all, and started laughing. So did you even mention Liam Cohn,
I don't know who that is.
the new coach for the Jaguars?
No, Paul, don't help him
Oh,
out.
sorry.
Well, I don't believe.
Wait.
I won't take that into consideration.
Well, I don't believe in
'cause it
coaching.
wasn't
Oh,
part of
okay.
Jack's argument.
I don't
All right,
believe in
Ziggy, you ready to go?
Wait, so
Oh,
basically
yeah.
they just have this like new guy coming in, and
New guy can't be worse than the old guy, right?
Yeah.
Well, a new guy who's good.
Yeah, and
They address
infrastructure?
team needs. You know, they got offensive line, secondary help.
I actually don't hate the Jaguars as a selection, but that reasoning was absurd. All right, you ready?
Okay, that was decent though. That was good.
thank
I
you.
think.
All right, let's
Thank
go.
Okay, Ziggy, you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Look, the easiest place to improve from is rock bottom. And that is where the Falcons defense was last year. Second to last in the league in sacks, worst in the league in sacks by a huge margin since 2019. Worst on third down. They couldn't get after the quarterback. Now you had 2 young, exciting edge rushers in Jalen Walker and James Pierce, first round picks in the draft. That defense is going to be a lot better. Another way you can't possibly get worse, replacing Kirk Cousins with literally anybody. You bring in an offensive coordinator from the Rams who's in to run a play action heavy scheme because that's what they do in LA. And you have to run the lowest play action rate in the entire NFL because your quarterback can't move. It's like playing with Jordan Walker with a ripped groin, except every single game. So replacing Kirk Cousins with Michael Penix Jr.,
10 seconds.
exciting young quarterback out of Washington. You've got so many weapons in that offense. Drake London, Bijan Robinson. Great offense, great defense, making the playoffs. NFC South
Beep, beep,
is a
beep,
bunch of bumps.
Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep.
You didn't need to give me 10 seconds, Paul. If you hadn't said that, I would have been able to finish on time.
Sorry about that.
Zig, you're good at finishing on time, right?
Yeah, oh, there it is. There it is.
Oh.
Okay, Lauren, so you have the case there for the Atlanta Falcons for a big bounce back
What?
season.
I
Any
think that case
questions?
is probably
What do
too
you
complicated
mean
for Lauren.
by? Okay, well, Ziggy's not gonna win.
Yes.
What do you mean by bounce back? Do you mean like compared to how they're
Oh,
doing?
it's
or do you
intentionally
mean,
vague.
Like do
Improve, right?
just improve at all?
Yeah, so like the Falcons last season,
Like
as
if
Ziggy was saying.
they ended last and then this season they end second to last, is that
Yeah,
a
bounce back from a disappointing year. Where the Falcons
Like, you want
expectations.
them to have a decent year. Like if the Falcons, they won 8 games last year. If they win 9 games, that wouldn't be a bounce back. But like making the playoffs would be, even if they don't win a game.
Yeah,
Okay.
the last season the Falcons had sky high expectations, and Kirk was horrible. And now they have a rookie, and they should be good, or a second year starter, in Michael Penix.
Okay.
So-
the thing that gets me with Ziggy's is he said that they were at rock bottom. And I feel like
The
how much
defense was
can
at rock
you-
bottom.
Defensively.
Okay.
Okay, all right, my turn. Ready?
Paul's turn.
3, 2, 1. Lauren, the San Francisco 49ers last season came into the year with expectations to win the Super Bowl. After being in the Super Bowl the year before, they were supposed to finally bust down the door. And then everything fell apart. Christian McCaffrey, their offensive engine, arguably best player, top 5 player in the league, Achilles tendonitis. You had Brandon Ayuk, star receiver, goes down. Ricky Pearsall, their rookie first-round receiver, was shot before the season, recovering from a gun wound, bullet wound. Trent Williams, offensive lineman, all-timer, injured as well. Nick Bosa, stud defensive end, hurt. So many injuries on this team that had Super Bowl expectations. They go from Super Bowl contender to 6-11, missing the playoffs. Well, this year, everyone should be back. They've had a few absences, free agency, they lost a few pieces, but the stars are back in place here for the 49ers to go along with the easiest schedule in the NFL this season, top to bottom, the easiest. I see big-time players returning, easy schedule, future's bright in San Francisco.
You think their
Beep, 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 beep.
quarterback? You think their quarterback stinks though?
I think their quarterback is an average quarterback who, when surrounded by the right pieces, can be very, very good in that offense.
I think my quarterback Lawrence is elite.
Well, you didn't say that.
Well, I'm saying it now.
He mentioned him.
I did. I mentioned
think
Lawrence.
He said he was young.
Okay, Lauren.
Yeah, Purdy's old.
So your cases here are Purdy's not old. Your cases are the Jacksonville Jaguars from Jack, the Atlanta Falcons from Ziggy, and the 49ers from me to bounce back next season.
Not you.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought I kicked ass.
Not you.
Wow.
Because
For the record, Paul's case is the one that's probably actually the most likely to be correct.
Well, they're the
well,
best.
yeah, because
they're
they
just
were,
the best team.
Yeah, they were a great team.
Please talk in the
You
microphone.
They were a great team. I thought the 49ers were really good.
And they were horrible last year, and they're a prime bounce back candidate.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like bounce back. Like you can't just be
Alright, this
really,
is a
really
bad
good
idea.
and then a bunch of accidental like tragedies happen, like a bunch of random injuries, and then everyone's back and then
And
they're
then
still back to good.
back.
So-
You bounce back.
So, but Niners is a cop out because you're like super elite and just had injuries. So it's like pretty obvious they'll be good again.
So I
Like, they're
should win.
not-
Like,
They're
okay,
not
who are
really
you
like
picking? Who are you
changing.
picking?
They're not like changing anything. It's just the people are recovering.
Is that not what a bounce back is? You bounce
Yeah, but
back
I
from
feel
injury?
like that's-
A bounce back's more like a crappy team who, off a bad year.
I
and
mean,
does
comeback
better.
player of the year usually goes to whoever got injured last, not whoever improved.
Yeah,
the
but-
most.
I have Ziggy arguing for me.
That's an issue with the system.
Okay,
I'm
who are
not
you
the
picking to win the
system.
segment?
I am gonna pick. Ooh. My head is saying Ziggy, but my heart is saying Jack.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Jack stood up here and mumbled.
Are you kidding?
For a minute.
Mine was
He didn't
good.
He didn't say what team he picked for the first 45 seconds. He said that's the same sound as my name.
Mine was good. Dude, I addressed the secondary needs that they got. The O-line.
No, you didn't. Oh my god.
Travis Hunter. I thought I had the best as well.
Shame, Lauren.
You talked about a lot of stuff.
Thank you.
He talked
I-
about
I
nothing.
agree.
About a lot of stuff.
She's a smarter Farrington.
Oh,
I also like the Jaguars.
okay. All right.
I knew that was going to help.
Goodbye, Lauren. So, in this situation, to make
Paul-
the case,
Paul-
Jack has won
Paul's pissed.
and made the best case.
Everyone's going to agree with me too in the comments, or agree with Lauren. in the comments.
I think almost everyone listens. We'll have to see. I can't. On this show, something I've learned now is I can no longer make the obvious claims because every time I make the obvious claims, they seem to be.
I was the right pick though, because if she had picked you, it's like, oh, like
It's like
that's-
yes, he should have won.
like no, it's like, oh, it's her brother. It's her brother.
Paul, you're
That's-
such a narcissist.
Narcissist.
No, no,
It's not narcissism.
It'd be like, oh, like you're the same blood as your brother, not fair. Ziggy, oh, she's a crush on him, not fair. I'm the perfect, like I'm the easy pick to make.
Yeah, the cop out.
Yeah, she won't be criticized.
Oh, she'll be criticized.
No.
I think I seriously won.
I
now,
feel like the
jokes
people will agree.
aside, I do think that all three of these teams are
Thank you, Lauren.
are very good bounce back candidates. Ziggy did just for a second, so that people can actually feel like they may have gotten some value from this segment. Ziggy, out of those three, you said you think the 49ers are most primed to actually bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking this offseason. I think that there's a reason the 49ers win total is double digits.
Yep.
This team, even if the long-term future might not look great, is stacked with talent. Like the Jaguars and the Falcons, you're both asking a bunch of players to step up and do something they haven't done before. The 49ers, you're just asking them to return to normal.
I think that you can also make some cases. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on here with San Francisco. And I didn't have a lot of time to get into the schedule. And we play the schedule game. People say you're not supposed to. I don't care. The schedule game with San Francisco, the only teams with winning records from 2024 that they're playing outside of their own division are the Texans and the Buccaneers, which I think are two very winnable games when it comes to teams that had a winning record last year. Otherwise, we're talking Jaguars, Giants, Panthers, Browns, Titans, Saints, Falcons, Colts, Bears. Like, if they're anything close, this is not a better team than the teams we've seen in the past and the Super Bowl teams that we've seen in the past. But this team has the easiest path by far. And whether or not you like Brock Purdy, if these guys are healthy, they are going to steamroll through the schedule. Like this is an easy 10-plus win team if they stay healthy. And all you have to do is get in, and they have enough talent, they have enough superstars that, again, if healthy, the 49ers are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. And if you don't like Purdy, it's hard to make the case not to bring him back when you have the opportunity to go on a Super Bowl run like this. So I think they are in as good of shape as anyone next year. They just need a few pieces to fall into place.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. Oh no. I think and Jacksonville too. Like, but they need the jump from Lawrence. That's what they need, and that's what you said, Ziggy. Penix and Lawrence. These other two teams, we're relying on two quarterbacks that I know Penix is in year 2 now. Only started a handful of games, but two quarterbacks we haven't actually seen the jump from yet. And I think Lawrence, he played really well a few years ago, but then got hurt and they've fallen apart. We need them to establish themselves as legitimate starting quarterbacks, better, top 16 quarterbacks to really believe in these teams.
And they're both in decent positions to do so.
Oh, great positions.
The Falcons' weapons are good. The Jags just bought in Hunter, then Brian Robinson's second year.
Were there any other teams that you guys liked as bounce back candidates that were on your radar?
The Pats, maybe.
Yep.
I mean, that's if May is decent. They got Stephon Diggs. I mean, they won't be worse than last year, surely. And they only get better.
I mean, I didn't have this team because we thought producer Zach was going to be judging this segment, but I think the Dolphins are a team that could actually really improve.
People think the Dolphins are going to be unbelievably bad.
Yeah, why is that?
Yeah, the thing is, when Tua's healthy and the offense is clicking, this is a team that should make the playoffs. Now, obviously, that's asking a little bit from them, but this is still a team with plenty of talent and a solid, if disappointing, quarterback. Tua's disappointing because he's paid like he's a top 10 quarterback and he's a top 15 quarterback. He's not disappointing because he's a terrible guy. The Dolphins almost always win the games they're supposed to against bad teams. Relative to expectations, all the Dolphins need to do is win one or two games that maybe they shouldn't, and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, Tua's paid to get to the AFC Championship game, and when the moment matters, we talked about this a couple of years ago when they were threatening the 1 seed. It just always feels like in that moment he makes the big mistake, and it was kind of ironic last year. He finally goes down the field. Remember the Buffalo game in Buffalo? He drives down the field, scores the touchdown to win the game. And then what they give up, a 3rd and 15, right? Or a 4th and 15.
With 30
at the end of, the defense let them down there. So the Dolphins are that team where people think the defense is going to be horrendous, and we'll have to see what happens. I think the offense should still be fine. But they're a team that just feels like something always goes wrong, that they can't show up in the big moments. Which I feel bad for producer Zach.
And I feel like as long as you have healthy Tua and A-Chain and
they were competitive last year.
Yeah, they're a team that should go to the playoffs.
I mean, last year, Tua missed half the season, and they're
9-8,
and then they were threatening for the wild card in the last couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah.
So I don't see how they're going to be unbelievably bad. But all right, we'll move on there. Two other teams, not to go on about them, but I thought the Cowboys and Bengals were also two teams we could have talked about with the end of season since he had. I thought you were going to say the Bengals, actually, Ziggy.
See, I sort of like picking the 49ers. The Bengals just seem to be like a team where I don't think they're going to exceed expectations this year because the expectation should be AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about them.
You should go Cowboys.
The Cowboys, I'm always wrong about the Cowboys. I never know what to make that team.
I was going to go Cowboys, but I've talked so much Cowboys recently, so I figured...
You're right for Jaguars.
Yeah, Jaguars stray away.
Look, 2 seasons ago, Ziggy, I believe, picked the Jaguars to win be the 1 seed, and that's when they were 8-3 before the Trevor Lawrence injury. And Lauren, your Jaguars, I really do think that there's some legs to them. Yeah, Duval. We gotta get the clip of Liam Cohen saying Duval, but you got Liam Cohen there, and then, as you said, the 2 receivers.
I love how I won this contest without knowing who the Jaguars coach was.
It's which is probably
That's how good your argument was.
Probably their second biggest offseason addition after. Maybe their biggest, including Travis Hunter in there. So, just ridiculous. All right, let us know in the comment section who you think is the best bounce back candidate and who you think won that Make the Case segment. Please remember, of course,
me.
to...
We all know
well, I truly think... Well, you know what? That's why we must have all made good cases. We all think it's us. Please remember, again, to like, comment, and subscribe if you're enjoying the video so far. Trying to hit 20,000 by the start of the season. Now to what most people who tune into these shows are looking for, the NFC North updates. And there actually are quite a few updates since our last recording here. We're going to start off with the biggest one out of Detroit. This was massive news. We're recording on Monday afternoon. This was shocking. Frank Ragnow, the Lions center, has retired after 7 seasons in the NFL. Second team All-Pro last year. This was someone 29 years old. Lions thought they had him for a long time coming. I know he's flirted with the thought of retirement, but said this year he's felt as healthy as he's ever been. Dan Campbell said it wasn't a big deal that he was missing OTAs last week, and now Ragnow's gone, and Kevin Ziegler left earlier this season. So this Lions offensive line that's their foundation since Dan Campbell's been here. That's really where they've built this comeback from being one of the worst franchises in the NFL. I felt it started up front, protecting the quarterback, creating the running lanes for Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You're taking out second best player on that line after Penei Sewell, and it starts to make me think, like, all right, at what point are there some problems up front for the Lions? I think they're still fine, but now you have a rookie in Tate Ratledge taking over there. You're having Christian Mahogany fill in for Kevin Zeitler and Graham Glasgow. Those two are the guards. Still should be a good unit, and I don't want to doubt Campbell's motivation, but I'll throw it to you first, Ziggy. At what point here, like, what should the concern levels be for Lions fans?
Well, the thing about this retirement is this has now introduced a huge amount of volatility into the offensive line.
Yeah.
Because you are one Graham Glasgow injury away from having maybe the youngest interior offensive line in the entire NFL. And he's on the older side. Now, I get that Ragnow and Ziegler were older, but these are still top 5 players. So the chance that you are going to have the exact same amount of talent that you can just bring in guys to replace them and have it be smooth seems relatively low to me. Now, a lot of people are making a big deal online about the on-off splits of Ragnow because it is huge. They had one of the best offenses and best offensive lines when he was on in 2023. When he was off in 2023, those were some of the worst games for the offensive line, including, if you remember, that like absolute stinker against the Bears where Jared Goff took 4 sacks and threw multiple interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we just didn't see enough of the Lions' offensive line without him.
Sorry, Zeke, that was the late comeback, right? When
yeah,
okay.
So it's a mess, I think, without him, at least initially. And the problem for the Lions is you do not have a lot of time to let your offensive line figure it out. The start of the season is absolutely brutal, and they need everything to be in place immediately. Now, the win total hasn't changed. I think people tend to overreact to any single player, even an all-pro who's not a quarterback, leaving the team. But combined with Ben Johnson leaving, the Lions have a lot to figure out very, very quickly. And I'm not sure the start of the season is going to be as smooth as Lions fans would like.
Yeah, and that's their identity too, is those the monsters of Motown, the big boys up front. It was funny, I was at work today and I was texting my girlfriend.
We get it. Yeah, we get it.
She there's like an hour or two goes by and she like hasn't responded. I'm like, oh, like what's she up to? Finally I get a buzz in my pocket.
Paranoid.
I'm like, oh sweet, like this is probably Jaden. And I'm like, oh crap, like it's Zach in our show chat.
Updating you.
It's producer Zach saying Ragnow retired.
Blampaport.
And I'm like, oh, I don't care. Then I'm like, wait a minute, that's actually huge.
Yeah.
So that was my reaction to that initially. But my old Pong partner now steps in, Mahogany. I told you that story too. That's just
can you say that again for anyone who's unfamiliar? You've played.
I played Pong with Christian Mahogany back when we were both in college.
So you're a Lions guy now?
I'm a Mahogany guy. Bit. Yeah. So I mean, it's next man up.
I texted our good friend of the show, Tom Monroe. I just sent him the link to the retirement just to see if he had a take on it, and I got
that's funny.
Don't talk to me right now. Back from Tom. So that gives you a pulse of where the Lions are. And again, something that what I like about our show, guys, is that we are pretty authentic, I think, when it comes to how we're actually feeling. The Lions make a good move. We talk about them positively. If something bad happens, we will talk negatively. And when I saw the news, that first off, I'm happy that Frank is making the right decision for himself. You know, I think that takes a lot of courage to walk away. He's just 29 years old, but his quote is, "I'm prioritizing my health." He just talked about how to,
Congratulations. I wonder whether or not that's true.
Congratulations, Frank Ragnow, on an excellent career. That's the first thing here. What's wrong?
I was going to say, before this, the reporting coming out of Detroit was that he wanted a bigger contract and wasn't happy with what he was getting paid. So I do wonder if this is something that could have been averted if the Lions were willing to fork over a little bit more money.
Well, all right.
I mean, retiring at 29 is
That's
just
pretty
insane.
Nice. Well, he's going to go do something he wants to do.
From football.
Yeah, from football. I'm sure he'll go do something else, like start a podcast.
I don't blame Frank Ragnow for wanting more money. We've talked about it on this show, right? Centers do not get paid, even though they work hard and get beat up. Like, he's making $13 million a year. That's what he was scheduled to get paid. That would put him at a borderline top 10 guard.
I thought he was making even less. I thought he was getting like a little under 10. I might be wrong there, but Still, yeah. So maybe he would have kept playing if he
They
got more.
pay sports players an insane amount of money.
I mean, Lauren, when you talk about football, these guys again, the crap kicked out of them. Like it is.
No, I get
He
it.
had
And
a
like I
fractured
understand
throat.
like the industry is huge too. It shocks me every time that 13 mil is like
Yeah. I mean, look, you bring in
so
that money.
low.
You bring in that money. Yeah, you get paid for it. But they're putting their bodies on the line. So I don't blame Frank for retiring. But again, being authentic as a Vikings fan, seeing the coordinators leave, seeing Ziegler leave, seeing Ragnow leave, seeing some of that identity of this team get disrupted, I smell some blood in the water. And it gets me very excited for the opportunity that the Vikings have in front of them. I still think Detroit is a wagon. They are a tough team to beat. And they are not for a second going to be any less tough. But you're seeing these star players leave. And when it comes to the Vikings, we built up this D-line to go after those guys. The Eagles D-line won them the Super Bowl. Green Bay brought in a new guy to coach their D-line. They're trying to improve there with their first-round picks. Like these teams in the NFC, they're going out. They're trying to build up on the defensive line, and they have. I think that it could be a problem for Detroit. Now, I have no doubt in my mind they're going to come out and play strong football, but I see an opportunity here to take advantage of a potential weak spot now in Detroit. And that, while, again, very happy for Frank Ragnow, I hope everything's okay health-wise for him. As a pure, like, Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears standpoint, I think that there's this weakens Detroit a lot up front. So that to me is, I feel like exciting is the wrong word because I'm not happy that he's walking away as he's citing health problems, but you can't ignore that this hurts them.
In terms of a fan standpoint.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So, it's and Jared Goff. Now, this was actually the topic we were going to talk about before this news dropped. But Jared Goff is going to have more responsibility on his shoulders this season. He's going to have it between him and the offensive coordinator. They brought in John Morton, who had previously worked with Campbell in 2022 in Detroit. But Goff had a great year last year. He's fifth in the MVP voting. He's phenomenal. Horrible in the playoff game. And Jared Goff now, when you talk about can he win you a Super Bowl, I think all of us here would say yes, he can do that. But Lauren's nodding her head here. She's, of course. But Jared Goff in some big moments of his career has struggled some. And yes, it was against the Patriots in the Super Bowl with the Rams, and that defense was unbelievable. I understand that the Lions were hurt last year, but they were hurt on defense mostly. His 3 interceptions, that was a bad game for Goff. So in the San Francisco NFC Championship game, they had an opportunity to ice that game on offense. Couldn't get the job done. I think Jared Goff's awesome, but I do think it's fair to say, do you think he can get you all the way there? And this year now, with some of these guys who have left, Goff has a lot to prove. And he's a great opportunity, but he does have a lot to prove.
He does, and this is obviously a huge loss. I don't want to downplay it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're on the side that believes this current Lions team with Jared Goff can win the Super Bowl, or if he can't, I don't really know if this changes. Like if you think he's good enough, I think he's good enough.
Yeah.
And I would say that he is.
Well, Ziggy said the lines haven't changed in terms of wins totals.
Right, which
so other people feel
which
similar.
they probably shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I still believe Goff's good enough too. Big loss for sure, but it's not like losing Amon-Ra St. Brown or
Jared Goff.
Losing
Jared Goff.
Or him himself, yeah.
Well, and I think the benefit for this Lions team is it's easy to sit back and say, well, can Jared Goff do it all? And I think a lot of our Packers fans here will be inclined to say he can't. This year with the Lions, Jared Goff might not have to do it all because as many players as they've lost, like you can say they've lost their all-pro center. That's true. Well, they're getting back someone better, an all-pro edge rusher who's favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year.
He was so good before he got hurt.
Like, people don't remember. I find it inexplicable because it was half a year ago. People don't seem to remember how good Aiden Hutchinson was. This was a guy who could get you 4 sacks in a single game. There are very few players in the NFL that can do that. Like, this Lions defense, Ennis Rakestraw has been great at OTAs. Like, there's so much talent on this defense that's coming in. Yeah.
I mean, Reader will be back.
Robert Ziegler's back.
Half their team on defense. It's a separate issue. You can't we're talking offense. The defense should be way better.
Yeah, but when we're asking, is this a team that can go on and win a Super Bowl? And we're saying, well, I'm not so sure about Jared Goff. Maybe he's only a very good quarterback. Put a very good quarterback with an excellent defense and a solid weapons around him. even if the offensive line is poor, it's not like that Rams offensive line that Jared Goff took to the Super Bowl was that great. I mean, it was good and they had good tackles, but the interior wasn't that good.
But you know what it is, Ziggy, is I'm thinking about, and again, just to clarify, so I don't want Lions fans in our comments saying like why you can't say Goff. Well, none of us think Goff sucks. We all think Goff is really, really good. I'm sure that you guys will probably have him. I'm not sure where I have him yet in my quarterback rankings for the year, but like he's right there in the top 10 conversation.
I haven't won.
Yeah. Oh, you had him at top 5 at one point last year, I think.
Yeah, I did.
And no one's saying Jared Goff isn't good. What I'm saying is you surround him with a lot of talent, just like you did with Brock Purdy and the Niners. These guys can go on big runs. So I have no doubt in the world that the Lions will be a Super Bowl contender this year. What I'm saying is Jared Goff is going to have to be a little bit better in the big moments, meaning, think of Brock Purdy and the 49ers all the way to Super Bowl, can't score a touchdown in overtime, and Mahomes does, right? That's the situations I'm talking about. The Lions having the chance to close out San Francisco on the road in the NFC Championship game. They don't convert those fourth downs. When you have the quarterback who's not the elite of the elite, oftentimes they'll need to have that one moment that they can look to and you could say like, all right, they made the play. And I'm thinking Nick Foles, the Philly special, right? Like those were moments where a quarterback who was surrounded by great players made the big play when it mattered. And I think Jared Goff is much better than Nick Foles. I think he's better than Brock Purdy. But he still needs to, when it counts, have that moment. And he hasn't had that yet in his career. So that's what I want to see. I believe he can do it. I think he's awesome. But I need to see it.
I do also think that to ask if a quarterback is good enough to take you to the top is a little bit unfair in the sense that in the last 10 years, it's either been Mahomes or
It's
Brady.
the same guys.
It's the same guys. Like you talk about the elite of the elite. I'm sure we can all agree that Joe Burrow's up there and Josh Allen's up there and Lamar's up there. Jared Goff has gone just as far as these guys have, and none of them have won. So if we're all going to say, can Joe Burrow win it? Can Josh Allen win it? The answer is probably, yeah, they're good enough to.
Jared Goff's been farther than most of those guys because
Right.
he's been to the Super
But
Bowl.
Jared Goff has been further than these guys. So like that correlates to me is, yes, he's certainly able to. But then it goes back to what you're saying is, I guess once you're there, you got to... It's such a team sport. Like
No,
everything has to go,
it really is.
like,
and you're right.
the
'Cause
quarterback is the biggest part, yes, but everything has to go right. I mean, they were up by 17.
Look at the Eagles this year. I mean, I
Right.
don't think Jalen Hurts had his moment because the team just kicked the crap out of Mahomes.
Yeah, and look at the NFC chip, Detroit, San Francisco 2 years back. They were up by 17 points. I mean, the defense plays a role in that as well.
But Goff was also a primary, like in that loss to the Commanders this year, he was a primary factor for them losing. And like the 3 interceptions.
Yeah, but
he
then
also
again,
had
like,
the weight of the world on his shoulders because the whole defense was
It's
out.
also not a series of the MLB or the NBA where the better team wins. One game in the
Yep.
playoffs, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
Lamar hasn't been there. Josh Allen hasn't been there. Burrow's been there once. Goff's been there once. So I think it's unfair to Goff to ask, can Jared Goff take you there? When the answer for Lamar and Allen and Burrow is obviously yes.
Who haven't been there.
Yeah.
Who haven't been as far as
Who
him.
haven't been as far as them.
Yeah. It's I feel like the Lions now, their window, like this feels like the center of their window here. Like as far as it being open, like this is like they need to, over the next 2 or 3 years, this is it. And I know they have a lot of young guys, but windows can shut very quickly. Injuries happen. It feels like this is a year now where Jared Goff's going to have to put the team on his shoulders a little bit more, just a little bit more, to be able to finally burst down that door. So I hope he does well. I'll never forget. I've told this story once or twice when Jared Goff on Mike Silver's show that I was helping to produce was a guest, and the Lions were like 1-7 or 1-8. Do you remember this? They're like 1-8, and Goff's sitting there off camera saying to Mike Silver, like, "Dude, I'm telling you, we figured this out. Like, we're about to go on a roll here." And I was sitting back in my chair, camera off on Zoom, laughing out loud. Like, as a Viking, I was laughing out loud saying, the Lions suck. I don't know what Jared Goff is smoking. Like, get me some of that. Like, no
It's like
shot.
the Browns being 1-7 and saying that.
Yeah,
nonsense,
and like no shot that's happening. And from then on, they've been arguably the best team in football, and or right up there. So, what? Why are you rolling your eyes?
I'm just so sick of hearing about the Lions.
Oh,
I
me too.
can't.
So am I.
I only know one Lions fan, and he's like the most obnoxious
Oh,
person ever. Lions fans are not obnoxious. I'm not generalizing. I'm
No
saying
shade.
it's no shade. I'm saying this one particular person ruins the team for me because he's just so annoying. So we've been talking about the Lions for so long.
Okay. We'll move on. It's good to have someone get us off these topics.
I was ready to move on too. Stop you, Lauren.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, the Packers here. Yeah, as we turn to a new topic, the Packers, Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur. So we've been on this earlier than most people. Did Jordan Love improve? Did he regress in 2024? Finally, it's caught national attention because Matt LaFleur came out. They were asking him about it after OTAs. He said, "I think there's a narrative out there for whatever reason that he wasn't as productive as the year before. Well, he missed significant time. He missed the better of 3 games. Really, it was Indy, Tennessee." He went out in Jacksonville. Then he went out in Chicago. So, 3 games is a significant amount of time. You're not going to produce as much from a numbers perspective. And also, let's be honest, we've talked about the drops from last year. So LaFleur came out, defends his quarterback a little bit, says there's other circumstances that play into it. Everybody's going to be better, though. Jordan Love caught wind of this. And they asked Jordan Love about it. And he said, what is a step back is what I'd like to ask. You know what I mean? Everybody has different opinions, things like that. You got to block that stuff out. It's all about the goals of the team at the end of the day. I'd say we won more games than we did the year before. That's why I ask people, what is a step back? So,
that's a good point.
So, well, here's the thing.
See, that's annoying.
That annoys me too. And we defend Jordan Love. I think you could go ahead and scour every NFL podcast. I think this is the most pro Jordan Love podcast in the country.
Well, that's a decent point, though, is it not?
No, it's not.
No, we won more games doesn't mean anything.
We won more games does not mean anything.
Especially when multiple of those wins came when you weren't playing.
Yes, especially when he was out for a lot of those games. The question at hand is, did Jordan Love play better? And when you look on the season as a whole, I understand that his numbers, I think on the season, were kind of similar here. But if you really break it down, let's be honest. Packers fans, be honest. You watched Jordan Love at the end of the last season, 2023, and that's sort of where the judgment's coming from. When he ended on that on fire, 18 touchdowns, 1 interceptions over the final 8 games, that's not the standard because that was just insane. But it was a little bit below that was what you were expecting from Jordan Love. And he came out, and I agree that I think it was injury related for so many of his struggles. But that was not the same guy. It wasn't even close. He was worse when he played. And the easiest way to break it down is look at the division games. 2023, 4-2. 2024, 1-5. 67.2% completion in 2023. 61.6 in 2024. 260 passing yards per game, down to 230. 13 touchdowns and 3 interceptions against the NFC North in 2023. 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in 2024. Passer rating dropped by 18 points from 105.7 to 88.4. So in those games, those division games, the ones everyone circles every year, significantly worse. And you could have the little asterisk and say, well, they lost 4 of them by 3 points or fewer. They were getting their ass kicked by the Vikings twice. They should have lost to the Bears on the blocked field goal. It was a worse year for Jordan Love. There were other factors, yes, drops, injuries. He did not play as well as he should have, or as well as people were hoping for him to. And I think he will be way better. I just said I think he's an MVP candidate this year. And people got on me for that as well. So you pick your poison. You talk negatively, you get yelled at. You talk positively, oh, you guys talked way too much Jordan Love. But the answer is yes. He regressed last year for a variety of factors.
Well, now he's got the golden boy.
No, he does. He does, and I think he'll be really good. I'm a big Jordan Love believer.
You get it? Golden boy?
No, I get it. I get it.
You get it, Ziggy?
Do you think he regressed, Ziggy, last year?
I'm not looking at the wins. I'm looking at the level of play. Yeah. And I think the fundamentals that you wanted to see from Jordan Love didn't regress. Now, obviously, this isn't a film review podcast. We don't have time to go in. We're just not experts enough to go and review every single Jordan Love snap and tell you 20 things about how he played. So you can go and look at people who actually are able to do that and have that ability. All of them say, if you think Jordan Love regressed, you don't know ball.
Well, I just said
the reason for that is simple. Obviously, injuries played a big role. But if you look at how he's actually reading defenses, if you look at how he's placing the ball, if you look at, insofar as he can move, how he's going, if you look at how he played when he's healthy, I mean, that Philly team was a juggernaut last
Oh,
year.
they were awesome. Yeah.
And he took them down to the wire week 1.
Yeah, that was
I don't
He
think
played the
Ziggy,
closest game they had in the playoffs, except for the Rams. who I feel
Yeah,
like caught
that-
Philly
they also got
looking
blown
ahead.
out in the playoffs.
yeah, that wasn't a good game. But
Yeah, but was that blowout was not Jordan Love's fault. I mean, that blowout was where the refs are going to make the worst call in the history of football.
yeah, on the opening
kickoff.
Oh,
and
no,
they
and
give the game to the Eagles.
I don't want me saying that he regressed to make it sound like I don't think he was awful last year. I just thought he wasn't as good. The answer is yes, he was not as good as he was in 2023 because we're looking at 2023. We were looking at the end of the season. Coming into the year, we expected Jordan Love to be better than he was in 2024. So there was some regression there, but I don't think it wasn't a regression where you went, wow, should we change quarterbacks? Like some people in our comments have said, we want Malik. I don't know if that's some of them may be tongue in cheek there, but I don't think this was a like.
I don't think it all is, which I think is hilarious.
That was tongue in cheek.
What tongue in cheek?
Not like
That's a
that.
common saying.
No,
I went
Jack
tongue in
made
cheek.
it.
Oh, Jack did.
Ugh.
So I don't think Jordan Love was horrible last year. I just thought he pulled back a little bit.
We also put him on a massive, massive pedestal for having like the best 9-game stretch ever.
Well, he got a $55 million contract for 9 games. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm saying once you get paid, you may got paid, and that's it. Who cares?
No, I don't think that's the case. I think he got injured.
I do not think that's Jordan Love at all.
I think he got injured. But Ziggy, you just said, do you like? If you had to say regressed, didn't regress, improved, would you would say in the middle, same exact player?
Yeah, I do not think I am not measuring regression on team success. I think that's a mistake. Wins and losses are not quarterback stats.
Did I not just read the division stats?
Obviously,
Did those division stats? Is that not? He was significantly worse. And
I think if you go and actually watch Jordan Love play football last year, he did not look like a worse football player. He certainly didn't look. I mean, you have to compare it to the whole of his first season, right? He was not as hot as he was the second half. There's no doubt about it. On the whole, I don't think that the second season was a significant regression from the first season.
maybe I'm being unfair in that I'm mostly
You're being
looking.
a stats Andy right now.
I'm
You're just
looking
looking at the touchdowns and the interceptions and the yards and saying,
No, I'm
but
not.
it went down. He's
No,
the worst quarterback.
No,
Oh, he went
I am
down.
not. I am looking at the problem that I'm having here, and I'll acknowledge that's unfair. Is I'm thinking of how I viewed Jordan Love coming into the year, and I'm putting too much emphasis on the final 9 games and not taking into account the start of the 2023 season where he did have some struggles. But that's to me where it felt like a regression because I thought he overcame the problems at the end of 2023. And then it felt like he regressed into some of those mistakes in 2024 again. So that's where I'm saying I think it went 2023, if it's a straight line, right, was down. Then he went way up. And that's where we expected him to be or around that level for 2024. And I thought he came back down. So that's why I'm saying a regression. Maybe on the whole, he's kind of right in that same spot in the middle. But I was expecting MVP performances. Again, I think the injuries, I think the drops, I think a lot of other things went into him not playing as well or not appearing as well statistically. But him personally, he didn't feel as much of a threat as he did at the end of 2023. It was like, oh shit, you're going up against Jordan Love. He's going to rip you apart.
I'm wondering also what kind of, or what percentage of that maybe the pressure and expectations could play a role.
It could. I really do. And it's I sound like a broken record here. I think he was hurt. I think he was really hurt for a lot of the year.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was, but he was coming into the year paid to win the Super Bowl, essentially.
Yeah, that's what he was
like
paid to
being
do.
paid to go win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
After having 8 very good games. And when you're playing for a market too, like Green Bay, I mean, it's kind of like the New York Yankees of baseball.
Sort of.
I mean, I think that plays a role a little bit.
Yeah, there's definitely added pressure. But this is where it comes down to what Ziggy was saying. Is like Ziggy saying he as a processor, as accuracy, all that. Ziggy saying he didn't change as much. I thought he wasn't as good throughout the year.
I thought he was a little bit worse as well.
But not striking. Not like holy crap, this like what happened to this guy. It was just I thought he was going to be better.
He also was.
So let us know what you think, Packers fans.
The injuries are hard. You can't downplay those either.
I'll never get over I couldn't, like, our guy Jordan can't move,
Yeah.
I think was the quote from LaFleur at halftime of the Lions game. And we were on our live, people were saying bench, like, Love needs to go. I was like, he can't move. So an interesting conversation around Jordan Love. He's one of those guys that if we were talking about bounce back players, I think he's certainly in line to have a pretty big year. And the reason, like, so most people would say Jordan Love is a bounce back candidate, which to me makes it seem like, okay, he probably regressed a bit if he has to bounce back. That's why I think it's like, yes, he did regress a bit. Everyone says, oh, he's a bounce back guy. So let's move on here. Well, this will be very quick. Just hitting all the teams. The Vikings extended Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa.
All right, Bears.
Yeah. Well, I like with Kwesi, again, everyone knows how upset I was the first time he drafted with Kyle Hamilton. Oh my God, I was so freaking mad. But Kwesi has done an unbelievable job. He deserves the extension. Congratulations, Kwesi. Unbelievable job in free agency. He's going to be with us for a long time. The Vikings, since hiring Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, 66.7% winning percentage. That's the sixth best in the NFL since 2022. A franchise that wins all but the big games. So we just need to get over the hump.
Like the Dolphins.
One piece of criteria to work on Kwesi coming from a non-football front office mind. The Vikings have only 107 starts from players drafted since 2022. Second fewest in the league. I don't know if that's going to change this year with our lack of picks. But
who's the fewest?
I don't know. Ziggy, do you know who the fewest is? I love that whenever there's a question,
Ziggy,
whenever there's a question that I don't have the stat for, I'm like, Ziggy, do you know what's the fewest?
Fewest draft starts in the
fewest draft starts since 2022.
Ziggy has no idea.
I thought he did. He put his hand on his face.
You say that, and you were excited about the Dallas Turner trade up, so I don't want to hear that from you.
Yes, no. The only time that I've really been mad at Kwesi was the Hamilton situation, that first draft. And I think since then I've agreed with most of the moves. He's traded picks well, mostly. The Hawkinson trade was awesome. I like Kwesi. Last thing here before we move on to the Shador and we get ready to wrap up the show. Caleb Williams, the Bears. We're talking about Ben Johnson's noting what needs to change for this team. And, I think Jack will have a pretty pretty strong take on this here. But allegedly...
Jack's answer quarterback?
Yeah. Well, Albert Breer was reporting on what they've been looking at with Caleb, what they need to improve. And there is a lot of things. We mentioned footwork on a previous show. But what Albert Breer says, the stuff they've been working on really is how to carry yourself as a franchise quarterback, the command you have to have as a franchise quarterback. He said they watched tape of him taking sacks and how long it took for him to come off the ground. Basically, the point they were trying to make to him was last year is a tough year. Offensive coordinator gets fired. Head coach gets fired. O-line wasn't good. All of that, we get it. But if you're lying on the ground for an extended period of time, you're not picking yourself up, that's going to resonate with the rest of the team. You need to be popping up after those hits. Now, yeah, it's funny, they're not the ones getting crushed by 300-pound defensive linemen. But with Caleb Williams, you mentioned that, talk about the story this offseason of him not wanting to be a Bear, becoming public, and whether or not he put those stories to bed with the team, they are present now. Like, that's something people are talking about, and it can become a distraction. Hopefully for Caleb and Ben Johnson, Chicago, they can turn down the noise, but people are talking about it. And Caleb, we talk about opportunities for Jared Goff, for Jordan Love to bounce back. Caleb Williams this year has a lot of expectations. He's expected to make the Bears relevant again. He has an unbelievable amount of weight on his shoulder that J.J. McCarthy doesn't exactly have. Right? We're talking about a guy who's been burdened with taking one of the most popular franchises in the NFL, maybe in American sports, in the Bears, who have sucked forever, and he's the guy that's supposed to make them relevant again. I actually do understand
what a shame.
No, it's a hard that's a hard task to be dealt with.
Bears too.
But you do need to be in those moments relentlessly positive. You need to be you need to have a relentless work ethic of I am going to lead. And I do think that with Caleb, you need that to improve this year. I expect it to. But that was just an interesting story to me of like, okay, they're actually paying attention to this stuff as well. Like they've really dug down to the nitty gritty with Caleb Williams. And being a leader is something that I do think he needs to improve upon. And it's just part of that job. It's a tough job, man, that he's being tasked with.
100%. I just don't think he's very good. Like
I go on this whole thing about leadership and improving. And Jack's like, I think he sucks.
I don't think he's a good NFL quarterback. I think he's a college quarterback. But everybody knows that. I don't have to continue on that.
Okay, Ziggy, what do you think
on that rant? I think their quarterback stinks.
Did I just have a completely irrelevant take?
To me, yeah. I think he stinks.
Not even. Yeah. Was that irrelevant?
I think what's like the thing that's going on here is I think this is perceptive from Ben Johnson. The Bears, first and foremost, last year had a culture problem. And like Caleb Williams, I think obviously he's going to be where you start because he's the quarterback. I don't think he's the number one guy to blame. I don't think he's maybe even the top 10 guys to blame, but there was just the culture problem up and down the roster. And it started with the coaching. So if you're a new coach and you're coming in, the first thing you have to do to fix that, because I really believe this, I think as a head coach, your hardest and most important job, it's not scheming. We've seen so many scheme geniuses become head coaches and totally fail. It's managing a team and building a culture. And that's what guys like Dan Campbell do so well, and why I'm always so impressed by what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You need to start with Caleb Williams because you need him to be the leader, and you need him to unlearn all that crap he learned in his first year under the Eberflus / whomever was interim regime. You just have to do that. That's where it has to start. So we're going to see people pointing at them and laughing and saying, you teach your franchise quarterback how to not cry like a baby. Really? That's what the offseason's about. It's not about getting better at football. He's not even at the level where he can't like not be a whining baby. But I don't think that's what's going on here. I think in essence, the Bears are just trying to build a functional culture. Ben Johnson is just trying to build a culture that could actually withstand an NFL season. And when was the last time the Bears had that? I mean, they lucked into it in 2018, I think, because Matt Nagy, like they won a bunch of games with Khalil Mack. But we saw whether or not Matt Nagy could build a culture. Before then, like there was the Jay Cutler era. You're not going to look to that for a great culture. It might be the 85 Bears might be the last time the Bears actually had a great culture.
That probably is the last time they had a great culture. And you know what?
Like,
I'm just gonna say this.
Building it.
I'm just gonna say this. I get ripped apart by people when I say that the thing I love most about JJ McCarthy is the work ethic, the leadership, and then we literally have the Bears saying the number one thing for Caleb Williams is being a better leader.
I mean, I don't know how many times I got to say to these GMs is you can't take QBs from USC or Alabama. Never pans out ever. That's what I mean. USC.
Jalen Hurts just won the Super Bowl.
He was benched at Alabama, went to Oklahoma,
But then he came back and he won the SEC
He's
championship.
an Oklahoma Sooner. He's an Oklahoma Sooner. He left Alabama, became great, and was he's an Oklahoma Sooner. But like I mean, USC QBs, like name one. Palmer,
Darnold.
like
Palmer was good. Palmer had a great
like,
career.
Right, like Darnold and like Leinart. These guys all stink. Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez.
I mean, these guys aren't good NFL QBs, especially in cold weather cities too. Come from USC, it's just impossible.
I mean, like in general, without Alabama guys, who we had? We've had Tua, we've had Jalen Hurts recently,
Like Bryce Young.
We had Bryce Young come out. We had Mac Jones come out.
Hurts is Oklahoma. Mac Jones stinks.
I don't know if Hurts is actually Oklahoma.
He's Oklahoma.
Who do you compare Jalen Hurts, or who do you think of when you think of Jalen Hurts?
Oklahoma. He took OU to the
Oklahoma.
college. Yeah,
I think solely Alabama.
His best year was OU in the college football playoff.
He took Alabama to the national championship game.
He won it with.
Yeah, he didn't win it. He didn't.
I mean,
he lost by 70 points.
Win a national
but he took
championship.
OU. He revived OU to the playoff. Then he was benched for Tua.
You know, I think of
Jalen Hurts as a Lincoln Riley project. Ask the NFL player.
And I know people are going to be screaming at their computers, Joe Namath. That's not what Jack's talking about. Jack's talking about like the past 20 years.
Yes.
That's 25 years. Since 2000.
Joe Namath didn't play college football the way we think of college football.
Don't Joe Namath me.
You know, actually, what I think is a fair comparison here. I think Jack might be the Caleb Williams of this podcast. That's right. That's what I think I've come down to right here.
So you're saying I stink?
No, I think you have. No, like you would say you stink in this situation. But I think Jack, like
he stinks.
All the natural talent in the world, but you need to coach him up and have him be a leader. Like Jack will walk in, making his inappropriate jokes like 15 minutes late, and he's like, "Did you do the research for the show?" He's like, "No."
I was.
But you're
4
like,
minutes.
"Damn!" You're like, "Damn it, this guy."
I was 4 minutes.
This guy
early
did
today.
his work. He'd be unbelievable.
I was 4 minutes early.
And
today.
we just need to find the Ben Johnson to
no.
turn this
Even
guy.
if you coached up Caleb, he still stink.
Well, we'll see this year.
Is that do you like that comp, Ziggy?
I was 4 minutes early today.
I like that comp.
I think it's a great comp.
I was 4 minutes early today.
That's not doing what you think it's doing. I was
the 4 minutes early. The 4 minutes early, I think, was actually huge. Like Jack walked into it, he was like,
no, but insisting like I'm the GOAT. I was 4 minutes early. Like,
I don't think he's insisting he's the
Jack
GOAT.
might be the Kyler Murray.
No,
right?
I'm saying I'm.
We need to put
Kyler's
like
good.
it's in his contract that he's got hours of study time for the show.
The best was this year when I was
short. He's pretty quick.
I was away for the opener of the
Yeah,
Packers
I
opener
kind of like Kyler.
On a Friday night, and I get the text from Jack. He's like, "I am borderline getting too drunk to do the show," and I was like, "You need to stop. You need to go do the show." And actually, you guys did a great job, the two of you.
I held the fort down.
Yeah, I think Caleb needs to do a little bit better job there, and I think he will. I'm a believer. I'm not going to read this stat. There's a fun Caleb stat. I'm not going to read it. Okay. So what? What, Lauren?
That was such a tease. There's a fun stat, but I'm not going to read
Paul
it.
teases me every night before bed.
This will be 1 minute because now I guess people want to know. But Caleb was sacked 68 times last year. It was horrendous. In terms of play action, I thought this was interesting. The Jared Goff ran just under 36% of his plays last year in play action. The Bears were last in the league at 18.5, or we're close to last with 18.5% of the time. Ben Johnson, wants to do more of that with Caleb, and I think that will work because he gets out of the pocket, he's creative, he makes a lot of plays. But it said apparently 8 of the last 10 quarterbacks, or 8 of the 10 quarterbacks who led the league in passing attempts and play action made the playoffs last year, and the year before that was 7 out of 10. So I don't know, maybe like just something I thought was kind of cool. Ben Johnson is leaning into play action. I think it'll benefit Caleb. And apparently it's benefited a lot of quarterbacks in the league. And so I don't know why more people aren't doing that, but there's a little fun factor there. Ziggy probably knows some number in the back of his head, and he's like, Paul, what?
He's got something.
Paul's like, what the hell are you talking about?
There goes Ziggy with this.
Okay. Let's wrap it up with this, because I feel like we've had a pretty good episode here. Zach would be.
I'm not going to wrap it up with a draft. I've got an all-time draft idea.
Oh, you want to do a draft? Should we push Shador to later?
Push Shador.
We'll push Shador.
No, Browns OTAs or whatever. I've got a good draft.
Yeah,
I got a good draft.
Oh, I want to say for Zach.
Forget the Browns.
Can I say one thing for Zach? Producer Zach really wanted us to say that Saquon's on the cover of Madden. That was the one thing producer Zach wanted us to say.
So maybe he'll get hurt.
If you haven't seen it, you should go and check out the video where he jumps in the air.
Not real. Cannot be real.
No, he had a suspender. That's right.
Okay. Because
Saquon can actually jump that high, but they held him up just an extra second to get the shot.
Okay.
I feel like he jumped that high when he hurdled that Rams guy.
He did. But did you see the video of it?
No.
You got to watch. Yeah, what Ziggy said. People didn't know at first he had the suspender, and when he jumps up over the guy, he actually freezes in midair for like a split second. And the comment section was just going like, "Yo, this dude floated."
Yeah, I gotta watch that. I think
it was really funny.
The Eagles are gonna repeat.
Football is so weird.
Saquon's doomed. Offensive Player of the Year curse,
Madden
2,000-yard
curse.
running back curse, Madden curse,
True.
Super Bowl hangover.
True.
It's the Madden curse returned.
So among the last 4 guys to be on the Madden cover among running backs, you got 4 games played. 0 games played, 10 games played, 10 games played. Saquon ain't having another season.
Well, you're also on the Jahmyr Gibbs bandwagon. I think Saquon will be awesome. I'd take him.
I'm just saying it. Well, you know who was Christian McCaffrey? He was on the cover. How many games did he play the next season?
4. Yeah.
Barry Sanders, he was on the cover a few years ago. How many games did he play? 0.
Well, all right, stop it.
Peyton Hillis, bust. Sean Alexander, missed 10 games.
I can't believe Peyton Hillis he outvoted Adrian Peterson for Madden cover.
Was Troy Polamalu on the cover?
Yeah, he was with Fitzgerald.
What did he do the next year? I thought he was good, right?
I don't remember.
He wasn't a running back, though. It doesn't count.
Oh, true. Okay.
What's
Barry
your draft
Sanders
here,
put up
Ziggy?
0 yards after he was on the cover. Are you kidding me?
Stop it.
Barry freaking Sanders couldn't beat the curse.
What's the draft?
What's your draft?
Football movies.
Football movies.
Surely you know at least 9 football movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know at least 9 football movies.
Yeah, you can't tell me you guys don't know football movies.
No, I know.
I could rattle off 20 football movies right
I'm gonna
now.
jog my memory.
I can do 9 football movies. I just want to get a list in front of me.
Starving.
Okay, Lauren, are you?
This is sent in by friend of the program, John Marr.
Can Lauren actually judge this? I'm not sure.
Oh,
but
we're back to me.
You're gonna have to judge this.
I bet you Lauren's favorite football movie is 80 for Brady.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
Ready?
That's a great movie.
Lauren, I'm order the numbers 1 through 3.
Sally Field looks
ready.
good in that
Order
for
the
being
numbers
80
1
years
through 3 in any random order.
Okay.
Go.
2, 3, 1.
Okay. Paul, Ziggy, Jack is the order. Paul, Ziggy, Jack. You guys ready?
Unbelievable. Lauren.
I'm gonna go. I think easy 1-1. Remember the Titans. One of my favorite movies. I think that's the best football movie.
That's my number 2.
All right, so that brings us over now to Ziggy with second pick.
I mean, you know who I've got to go in for here. We're taking Rudy at the 2.
Oh, sorry. That's like Jack's
Darn
second
it.
favorite movie of all time.
No,
Yeah.
Jack got screwed. But I mean, Jack, you got to understand.
Business
you
is
must
business.
understand, even if you wanted it for yourself.
Those are the two best ones. Now I got left with crap.
I disagree. I don't think either of those are the best football movie.
Yet you drafted it.
Well, because I knew Rudy wasn't making it past Jack.
Oh, okay. Another icon. I'm taking The Blind Side.
Blind Side. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got Remember the Titans, Rudy, and The Blind
The
Side.
Blind Side.
And then
I think The Blind Side.
That's a terrible movie.
I love The Blind Side.
The Blind Side might be one of the worst movies ever made.
And then follow that up with The Waterboy.
The Water Boy. Okay.
Is that like Adam Sandler?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So The Water Boy and The Blind Side for Jack.
That counts, right? It's a football movie.
Yeah.
All right.
Would you count Jerry Maguire as a football movie?
I will. I would count it as a football movie.
Because I can see either way on this. If it counts, I'm taking Jerry Maguire here at my 2.
I think it should count. And I just want to say, Ziggy, no like soccer crap. I don't want to hear like, oh, football movie.
No.
Yeah.
I'm being
Yeah.
serious here. But because Jerry Maguire, I mean, Cuba Gooding Jr., he's a football player in it. So like it's about football, sports. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you Jerry Maguire there. That's what I was probably gonna take if you hadn't gone there. All right, this is interesting now for me because there's a few movies that I like. I think Friday Night Lights is one that a lot of people will want to be taken. But I think I'm gonna draft based on the movies that I actually like enjoy. I'm going to take. Oh, is it horrible to pass on? I'm gonna take Draft Day. I love Draft Day.
That's a good
I think
one.
that's a lot of fun.
That's a good one.
Draft Day is such a stupid movie, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy that one. So I'm gonna go Draft Day, and then man, you got a lot of. I actually haven't seen some of these like The Longest Yard. Man, I loved The Express growing up.
Longest Yard is great.
I haven't seen that.
Are you talking about the Burt Reynolds one? Because that one's good.
Varsity Blue. No, I haven't seen either of them actually. Hold on, give me 1 second here. I'm going to go. You know what? Man, I really like Invincible. I'm going to take Friday Night Lights. I'll take Friday Night Lights.
That's a good one. Mike Winchell, Booby Miles.
Yeah. I feel pretty good with that.
There's a full Billingsley.
Man, I will tell you though, I loved The Express.
Friday Night Lights. That's a good pick.
All right, Ziggy, you're back up.
I'm
Jacob.
torn here. There's 2 movies that I could see myself going for. If I were picking the correct list, it'd be Horror Beats Yale 2929.
You know I have that on DVD.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's well.
But I'm taking the superior football documentary in the so far as it's more fun. We're taking Undefeated at this spot. Have you ever seen Undefeated?
I have not.
Oh, that's if you haven't seen it, all-time great documentary. It's about Manassas High School trying to break their 110-year losing streak in the playoffs.
Well, Ziggy, I think that eliminated you from competition, and we're gonna go over to Jack.
You want me to take Air Bud Golden Receiver?
Brian's song is very good too. No, I want you to take one that people have seen. Like,
I'm taking the one where Mark Wahlberg plays for the Eagles.
oh, Invincible, fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen it
that's-
once and I
Look,
loved it.
That's awesome.
Our fans that know are going to come here and say Undefeated is one of the best sports movies I've ever seen.
I think it's a great recommendation as well.
Longest Yards being left out too is tough.
There's a lot. I mean, Varsity Blues people love, but Varsity Blues I think it's okay.
I haven't seen
Like,
Varsity Blues.
Gives me
It's
the
good.
blues.
I mean, they're good.
none of the movies remaining, I think, are like can't miss movies.
Greater.
I like.
You ever seen Greater?
No, I haven't seen Greater.
Greater.
It's a
I
good one.
hardly know her.
Little
the
Giants.
ice
I haven't
cream?
seen. I actually haven't seen Little Giants.
Lauren.
You know which one? You know which one I actually almost took, but I thought I'd get ripped apart. I really liked The Game Plan with The Rock.
I loved
growing
The
up.
Game
I mean,
Plan,
growing up, that was one of like.
that one is really good.
I loved that, but that's that how football. That's a football movie, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I'd say it's a football movie.
Yeah.
All
To a
right,
degree.
Lauren gets the pick.
Okay, Lauren. So here we go. You have to judge this draft here. I had Remember the Titans, Draft Day, and Friday Night Lights. Ziggy, I saw the Z and I almost said Zach. Ziggy had Rudy, Jerry Maguire, and Undefeated. And Jack had Blindside, The Waterboy, and Invincible. How many of these have you seen?
Wait, can we go through again? I'll say if
All
I've
right,
seen
one
or
more-
haven't seen. Just one more time.
Remember the Titans.
Seen.
Draft day.
Haven't seen.
Friday Night Lights.
Haven't seen.
Oh, you got to watch Friday Night Lights.
Is
Rudy.
that a TV show?
It was also a TV show. Yeah. Rudy.
Haven't seen, but I know the story.
I mean,
Paul, you're a failure.
yeah, it's. There's a helmet right here. Rudy, Jerry Maguire. No way in hell you've seen Jerry Maguire.
I think I've seen it.
Well, you've seen the last scene.
I can believe she's seen Jerry.
No, I think I've
Jerry
seen it.
Maguire's she would love that film.
Yeah, undefeated, no chance. Blindside.
Yes.
The Waterboy
I don't know, actually. I don't remember.
and Invincible.
It's not good.
No.
The Waterboy's great. It's Adam Sandler.
You say that like that guarantees it's going to be a good movie. Adam Sandler's.
It does guarantee it's going to be a good movie.
I think I'm going to go with the Paul. I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
go with Paul.
You had a good football.
Rigged.
yeah. I was gonna say justice for earlier in the show.
But taking Friday Night Lights there in the third round was incredible.
Yeah, I had.
That's
to
what
take,
I was going to take in the
I had
in
to
the
take it
third
there,
round.
even though it might not be in my personal. I think as far as if you're building a lineup, Friday Night Lights is a heavy punch.
I think it's my number 3.
Do you think
I should have taken it earlier.
we are marshals there? Okay, I did want to ask you guys one last thing. This is about movies. When you talk about the best sports movies, this popped in my mind. What sport do you think has the best movies? Is it football? Is it, I probably lean
I got
basketball.
basketball. I got Coach Carter. You got Hoosiers.
Maybe baseball.
You know what's a high
Baseball.
key sleeper? Golf.
Golf does have some best.
Tin
has some
Cup, Happy Gilmore.
What about
the greatest
hockey?
game ever played.
What about hockey? You got Miracle. You have Mighty Ducks. You have Slapshot.
Baseball, you got The Sandlot.
Jack.
You got Moneyball.
Oh, what's it called?
Benchwarmers.
do
Field
have-
of Dreams.
Field of Dreams. Baseball's good. I'm going to actually go baseball.
Man, pound for pound.
Damn
I think,
Yankees, if anyone has seen that musical.
Angels in the outfield.
Did you
You
guys
know who
ever?
surprisingly doesn't have a lot of good movies is soccer.
I was really
Like,
waiting
would've
for you to
expected
pull
there to
out.
be better movies, but
I love
there's not a
kicking
lot.
and screaming is awesome.
How about
Yeah.
dodgeball? You got dodgeball.
Yeah, you do. Then that pulls some weight. I think hockey's a little sleeper there.
I'd go baseball.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with baseball.
Yeah, I'd go baseball.
You go baseball.
Yeah.
Oh, boxing. You got some good ones.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
boxing solos.
You got Rocky.
Oh, what's the one with
Ali. You have
Raging Bull.
Cinderella Man,
I think
Raging Bull.
Yeah. I said, what's the one with the?
Yeah. What's the one with
where
boxing?
they
What's
box?
the one where they box?
Robert De Niro.
Are we forgetting another boxing movie? Rocky,
There's
Cinderella
the,
Man,
the
Raging
Disney
Bull.
one.
$1 Million Baby's
where
not bad.
Million Dollar-
They box, but they
Do they
also
box?
jump rope. So it's more jump in. I think
Jump
it's called.
in
It's
with,
more about
With
Oh,
Chad
on the
from
water.
Regression.
Oh, with Corbin Blue.
Duh.
Yes.
It's more about jumping,
remember
but
that.
he is also a boxer. I'm pretty sure.
Paul, could you have been a contender?
Could I have been a contender in boxing?
No, could you have been a contender?
I think I could have.
You could have been a contender.
I have to go eat dinner.
I think I could have.
I have to go.
Creed.
Eat dinner.
I actually think I'm
Jack
going to.
doesn't want to hear
I
about
have to go
on the
eat
waterfront.
Starving.
All right, wrap it up.
All right, there we go. Let us know what you think. What sport has the best? First, give us your favorite sports movie, and then give us your best sport. I feel like I'm leaning
And
boxing.
let everyone know that I won the draft.
Well, I'll need to
The
watch Undefeated.
silence
You had a
was
great draft.
So loud.
You did have a good draft, Ziggy. I just need to watch Undefeated. Okay, we'll wrap it up there. And again, thanks everyone for listening.
If anyone wants to talk about the Taylor Swift letter that she posted, let me know in the comments because I have a lot of thoughts.
I really care about a billionaire's scammy financial situation.
No,
the way she's
girl.
manipulating
All right,
I did not say my
all
thoughts
right,
were
all right. We will-
positive. I said I have a lot of thoughts.
We'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
I don't want to hear it, Lauren.